Unprecedented times. We've heard that phrase so many times in the last few years. And our present crises are unprecedented. Pandemic disease, systemic racism, political division, climate change. And yet it is the nature of crises to be unprecedented. That's what makes them crises. This isn't to minimize what we're going through right now. Our institutions, many of them have failed us, and they must be repaired in order for us to move on. And we will. For despite our current situation, technological progress has continued exponentially. Now, exponential progress is unusual in that it's so slow that until the modern era, no one ever saw any progress in their lifetimes. Prehistoric hunter-gatherers used the same stone tools for thousands of years. Medieval farmers used the same tools as their great-grandparents. Not until the modern era did technology proceed fast enough that anyone actually saw it happening. In the mid-20th century, Norbert Wiener, who I'll talk about a little bit later, commented on the unprecedented rate of progress of the previous century, which had gone from steam engines to nuclear weapons, from mechanical looms to the first generation of computers. In 100 years. He didn't think such progress could continue because it was unprecedented, but that is the modern era. It seems unstable because it is unstable. The old stabilities break down so that we may evolve. Biological evolution is still in play, of course, but technological evolution is much more rapid, allowing for almost immediate human augmentation, from primitive tool use to writing to cities to civilizations. Technology has increased our intelligence, has expanded our reach, has increased our communication skills, and has allowed us to thrive in environments far beyond those in which our species first evolved. Writing was perhaps the first technology that allowed us to increase our intelligence by allowing us to store information outside of our heads. Writing, therefore, represents a kind of a break in history. It represents really the beginning of history, since everything that comes before it is prehistoric. We may be approaching another such break with the advent of machine or artificial intelligence. Since the beginning of the computer era, the developers of these machines wondered what made these machines different from human beings. In 1950, Alan Turing wrote in Computing Machines and Intelligence that there was essentially no difference between the behaviors that could be expected from a machine and those that could be expected of a human being. At around the same time, Norbert Wiener developed the science of cybernetics, which made direct connections between the behaviors and capabilities of machines and those of human beings. Since then, computers have become increasingly more powerful, and they've become ubiquitous. And yet, our incredibly powerful, networked, ubiquitous computers still do not have the capabilities of a human being. We have many narrow artificial intelligences, narrow AIs, that are extremely good at very specific skills, better than humans at playing chess, at predicting the biological properties of proteins. But the dream of many in artificial intelligence is an artificial general intelligence, an AGI. A narrow AI might be able to drive a car, but it couldn't answer a trivia question or tell you a joke. An AGI could. One way of creating an artificial general intelligence would be to copy the human brain, to create what is called a whole brain emulation. Such an emulation would have all of the capabilities of the brain. We don't know how to do this yet. So another way of creating an artificial intelligence might be to use novel methods, perhaps based on the methods that we find in nature, such as neural networks, but not directly copying nature. Regardless of how an artificial intelligence is created, it will be able to become increasingly intelligent. A whole brain emulation, for example, could be run on faster computer hardware thus creating what Nick Bostrom calls a speed superintelligence. But if an artificial intelligence has access to its own architecture, is able to access its own programming to improve itself, such an AI can enter a period of recursive self-improvement, what Nick Bostrom calls an intelligence explosion, after which the AI will be far more intelligent than any human being. It will be a superintelligence. That's the title of Nick Bostrom's book in 2014. It goes into great detail about the dangers of the development of such a superintelligence, but he doesn't talk about not developing one because the advantages are far too great. After this intelligence explosion, Bostrom argues, humanity will have access to cosmic resources. Part of this, as he says, that Earth-originating intelligence will move out into the cosmos. And this Earth-originating intelligence will have significant non-biological components. For example, the furthest reach of our technology right now is the Voyager probe, which has recently entered interstellar space. It represents, however imperfectly, human values, discovery, exploration, an urge to transcend our limitations. These values, though, bring us to another question. What are the human values that we would want an Earth-originating intelligence to carry forward? We have to assume that our current value systems are imperfect, because we can look back at previous generations and easily see their moral failings. Our descendants will look back at us and see the various things that we're getting wrong. So if we assume that our current value systems are incomplete or even incorrect in some important ways, what values do we want to instill in this Earth-originating intelligence? This is called the value problem in Bostrom's book, and he argues that we may not be intelligent enough to solve it, but we can augment our intelligence. So perhaps we could use an artificial intelligence to help us answer the value problem. What would we want to do if we were smarter, if we were more the people that we wanted to be? We could task the superintelligence with taking those actions which would be most beneficial to humanity. And among those actions are likely to be ones that take us off the planet. As Bostrom points out in his book, humanity's cosmic endowment consists of the resources of the solar system and much of the cosmos, because, as far as we can tell, there's no one else out there. This is called the Fermi Paradox, named for Enrico Fermi, who, when a group of physicists were sitting around in the 1950s talking about the possibilities of extraterrestrials, he simply asked, where are they? We don't see them. An attempt to answer this is a theory called the Great Filter, first put out by GMU economist Robin Hanson. The Great Filter posits a filter consisting of one or more exceedingly unlikely evolutionary steps through which any technologically advanced civilization must pass before becoming a galactic civilization, a galaxy-level civilization. This filter may be behind us, or it may be before us. With billions of stars in the galaxy, most of which we now assume have planets, there have been millions, if not billions, of opportunities for life to have arisen in the cosmos. If it has arisen elsewhere, if it's common, some of it would be much more advanced than us. And more advanced civilizations would be likely to explore, to move out into the cosmos. In less than 1 million years, it's thought that a civilization that has interstellar travel would be able to visit most of the galaxy. And yet we see nothing. But perhaps this indicates a positive future for humanity. For if life itself is rare in the cosmos, it may be the great filter. Now, it may seem to us that life is common, since we see it everywhere, but this could be an observer selection effect. Any intelligent creature is going to find itself in a world teeming with life. So if life is rare, perhaps that is the great filter and we're already through it. But if we were to find primitive life on Mars, this would indicate that perhaps the filter is still further along. But perhaps the filter is technology itself, since that is also a seemingly rare evolutionary event, having only occurred in our species. So the search for extraterrestrial life, the SETI project, is looking for evidence of life on other planets. It may find this by hearing radio waves, hearing signals. If we were to hear or pick up an intelligent signal of extraterrestrial origin, this might indicate that the filter is still ahead of us. For if there are civilizations in the galaxy capable of sending signals out into space, as we've been doing for over 100 years, but none that are capable of exploring the galaxy, then perhaps the great filter is the development of those very technologies which allow for cosmic expansion, because they do present existential risks. And yet, this filter can also be seen as a bridge into the cosmos, a bridge into the unknown. Has anyone else ever set foot upon this bridge? We don't know. It doesn't seem like it. We don't see anyone else, but perhaps we're not looking in the right places or for the right signs. Or perhaps we are the first to ever set foot on this bridge. And we can't turn back. The benefits are too great: longer, healthier lives, more stable, more equitable societies, a cleaner environment, the exploration of the universe. If we are one of the few or even the only intelligence in this part of the cosmos, we need to nurture this intelligence and protect human values as we extend human reach. Mankind's cosmic endowment is among the stars, and we owe it to our descendants to help them get there. Thank you.